What's going on, guys? This is Damian from The Lookout and welcome to my deck profile. Yeah, I don't usually get to do this, but I'm super excited to show you this deck. This is Trunks my GoBros is trash deck. Yeah, this is better than GoBros. I've been playing this one like mad. I performed reasonably well with it. So today I'm gonna show you the deck. I think it's really cool. But before we begin this video, huge shout out to the Coffee Club, our lovely patrons. These are our $2 and up patrons. They buy us coffee, they keep this crazy double upload content grind going. And guys, thanks a lot for your support. If you wish to join the Coffee Club, link to a Patreon is in the description below. And I think that's about everything. Roll the video! As with all of our videos, let's start with the breakdown. So it's time for a deck profile. It's been a while since the last deck profile that I've done. Plus, I know that some of you have been requesting gameplay. There will be gameplay of this deck on the Scrub Games channel. I'll post it on Facebook once it's out. So we'll be using a mix of deck planet and slides to explain how the deck works. I'll give you some words about matchups, some suggestions for improvements. That's mostly the sideboard. Because I don't think that the sideboard is like an actual sideboard. It's mostly ideas for improvements. And then we'll just wrap it up with a summary that we will skip anyway. Let's go! Let's start by answering some questions. So why this leader? Well, because GoBros sucks. Like, GoBros is just bad now. This deck is so much better. And we want more energy on turn 2. That's the main reason why I'm playing Trunks Mai. Because when we awaken, we restand 1. You don't do that with GoBros. And this restand 1 allows us to play more stuff. So, plus the boss monster is much better than the GoBros one. What's our strategy? Our strategy is hand destruction and Z energy disruption. That's the main thing that we're doing. Yes, hand destruction in 2024, an almost impossible task, but it works in this build. We take everything away from our opponent. That's the strategy. Is the archetype any good? No, it isn't. Trunks my archetype is pretty bad. Like, it's actually pretty bad. So we're just playing a healing pod deck instead. Let's dive into the deck. Okay guys, so we're here with Deck Planet, the best deck builder on the internet for both Fusion World and Masters. Let's check out the leader. We're gonna be doing a mix of Deck Planet and slides. We don't have a lot of slides, we have like 10 of them. So this will go mostly undisrupted. Let's start with the leader. For those of you who don't know what the leader does, on the front side, Trunks my Earthling Saiyan, activate main. Once per turn, you discard a Saiyan or an Earthling from hand to play one My Future with an energy cost of 1 from your deck. Awaken when your life is at 4 or less and you have 3 or more Earthling tokens. Or you have 3 or more Earthling tokens. You draw 1, you restand 1, you go to 6 lives. On the Awaken side, 15k, permanent. If you have a green Saiyan in play, your tokens gain barrier. That's awesome, but usually it doesn't matter. Auto, when this card attacks, you play up to 1 My Future with an energy cost of 1 from your deck or drop. Then you shuffle the deck if you've looked through it. Additionally, if you and your opponent have a total of 10 or more battle cards between each other, this card gains plus 10k, so he can become a 25k beater. That's amazing. Okay, let's start with our Mice. So, my Link of Hope and my Protector of the People. This is the main one. 1 energy, draw 1 when you play her, and activate main, limit 1. Please keep in mind that this is limit 1. I also get confused sometimes, so maybe you need to pay attention that you don't create 2 tokens with this. Sometimes whoopsies happen. Anyway, activate main, limit 1. We switch her to rest mode and then we create 1 Earthling token. Unfortunately, it's limit 1, so we have to use the other one to create the other token. So, auto, when this card is played, you look at top 5, you grab a Saiyan or an Earthling with an energy cost of 4 or less to your hand, and then you shuffle the deck. Activate main, same, limit to 1 again, you create an Earthling token. So basically you use these to spawn tokens. You never really need more than 3 tokens. If you get to 6, that's amazing. Here is what your turn 1 looks like. So this is always our turn 1. We start, we charge 1, pay 1 to play a Mai, draw 1, or you play the other one. You use activate main to create a token. Now you need 2 more to awaken. You use your leader's activate main, you discard a card, let's say that it's Reddit's, you search the deck, and you play the other Mai, you tutor top 5, doesn't matter, grab something, you use her activate main to create another token. Now you need only 1 more, and then you pass the turn. So 2 tokens on turn 1, both Mai's out, and then turn 2 we can just awaken. Now let's check out the best card in the deck, Healing Pod. 4 copies of the pod, field 1 energy, auto once per turn. When you play a green battle card from your drop area, draw 1. That's it. Activate main, that doesn't matter, that doesn't even work. So, yeah, Healing Pod, that's what makes this deck so goddamn good. Because you can draw 2 cards with your leader swing. Here's how you do it. So this is the Healing Pod play for those of you who don't know how it works. We start the turn, charge 1, draw 1. We attack with our leader, his auto triggers, and we always play this specific Mai from the drop. We play her, draw 1, and then Pod's auto triggers, and we draw another one. So start of the turn we drew 3 cards already. We do this every single turn. And another thing to keep in mind is, because we're a hand destruction deck, don't swing into your opponent's leader unless you have no other choice. Don't swing into them unless you have a choice, because we don't want to put cards into their hand. We just want to gain advantage. And when you're not swinging into your opponent's leader and you're drawing 3 cards, yeah, that's a lot of advantage. Jumping, so much jumping back and forward, but let's power through it. The next card is what I believe is probably the best green card in the format at the moment. Bardock. 4 copies of SS Bardock Paternal Unison. SS Bardock Paternal Unison is goddamn amazing. It's, in my opinion, hands down the best green card in the current format. Why do we play it? First off, 2 main reasons. Hand destruction, because with +1 we get to kill a 1-drop, which is Mai, and our opponent discards 1. So passively destroying their hand. That's awesome. Second, and the big thing, is the energy disruption. Because Bardock has a very neat auto, which says when your opponent combos, once per turn, but it doesn't have the once per turn wording, so you can just use it on any combo. You send the card from the combo area to the drop. You deny them the Z energy charge. You deny them a lot of other things that we will go through. And why do we run Bardock? Well, that's one of the reasons why Trunks Mai is better than GoBros. You can naturally play into Bardock on turn 2. You're not falling behind. You're not losing if you do that. You can't do that with GoBros. That's why Trunks Mai is so much better. Anyways, now, I know you all have the question, but Demian, what about Black Smoke? Black Smoke is a thing. Well, nobody really cares about Black Smoke, because opponent loses advantage on our turn. When we pay 2 to play Bardock, and we discard 1, and then we take a card out of the combo area on one of our swings, we gain so much advantage that whatever Black Smoke did for 2 energy to get rid of Bardock, that doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. If they don't have a follow-up Black Smoke, you just keep ramping in advantage. The longer Bardock is out, the more advantage you get. And even if it gets smoked, you get like 2/3 of his advantage immediately when you play him on your turn again. So they just pay 2 to smoke you and you just play another one. Continuing preaching the message of our Lord and Savior Bardock Unison, this is why he's so good. He does 4 big things. First off, he easily stops U7. U7 just flat out can't deal with Bardock Unison. You take out cards from their combo. Now you're forcing them to combo with 3 cards to get their 2 draws. Yeah, that's a lot. Plus you're discarding constantly. Second thing, and future Gohan is actually one of perfect examples of this. You stop combo shenanigans. So things which say like, hey, when this card is in the combo area, gain double strike or crit or do something. Bardock just says no. You just take it out of the combo area. Good job, you just wasted your card. So that's an amazing thing that Bardock can do. The third thing is Bardock prevents arrivals. Yeah, Bardock prevents arrivals. So let's say you're playing against Cooler Mill, which is a game that we will have on the Scrap Games channel, or you're playing against New Beerus, for example. They need a multicolored card in the arrival area. They come over there, Bardock just takes it away. Just click no. Take it away now. Combo with something else. So yeah, that's a huge thing. And the last one, it messes up Z-Charge. Like if you play against Pen, for example, or any other deck that needs a certain amount of Z energy to awaken or to do something, they just don't. Because whenever they do like some of their combos to Z-Charge, and if you play against a deck like Pen or U7, you don't swing into them 99% of the time, so that they can't combo, you just take away their Z cards from the combo area, and now they just can't do their thing. So yeah, there are a lot of other leaders in the game which rely on one of the above mentioned strategies. These aren't the only ones, there's a lot of them, and Bardock can counter each and every one of them. To visualize how hand destruction works in this deck, you start, charge 1, draw 1, you attack with the leader, auto triggers, you play the Mai, you draw 1, auto triggers, you draw 1 from the pod, and then you can use Mai's activate main ability, switch her to rest mode to create a token, and then, now that she has been used to draw and to create a token, activate main from Bardock, target Mai, KO her, and opponent discards 1. And you do this every single turn. Okay, going back to Deck Planet, it's time to reveal the next combo card, and one of my favorite cards in the game. I really like this one, and it's super slept on. Reddit's pulling ahead. 4 copies. 20k. When this card deals damage to your opponent, first they take a life, it needs to deal damage. Choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and send it to their warp. And then your opponent sends one of their cards into their warp as well. So it's basically hand destruction. Activate main, limit 1 for 1 energy. If opponent has 2 or more, you play him from your hand. So the last effect doesn't matter, it never works. So yeah, why is Reddit's so good? Let's check it out. I present to you the Reddit's combo. So these 2 cards together are genuinely insane. Most leaders are 15k, like most of them. There are a couple of which are 20, but most of them are 15. So here's what happens. If your opponent combos on the Reddit swing, you use your Bardock's auto. You take it away. So they're 15, you're 20 with Reddits. Now they need to combo 2 more cards, not to take damage, and to lose a card from hand and from the field. So with one swing, if they do that, they just lost 3 cards in hand. Assuming that you have used Bardock's +1 earlier in the turn, they already lost 4. You took 4 cards away from them, just with these 2 cards, if they try to out-combo your swing. If they don't combo, basically you deal damage, so they lose a life, they lose 1 card in hand by warping it, and they lose 1 card on the field. So they still lose 2 from hand because Bardock's +1 plus Reddits. Now they lost a life, and you got rid of a threat from the board. Like, these 2 cards, the combination of these 2 is genuinely absolutely insane. Okay, now we will have some time without slides, because all of you know these cards. Let's go into our big beaters. 4 copies of Solidarity. Absolutely, 4 copies of Solidarity, Deflect, Double Strike, you play him for 2 energy, he gains Barrier on Activate Made. And then Auto, when this card attacks, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring Barrier, KO it, and then they place 1 card from their hand into their drop. Surprisingly, I use this card most of the time to kill Unisons. Or to kill, to clear the board. I rarely swing into the opponent unless they don't have cards in hand anymore. So it's most of the time used as a board clear. You swing into, or just to kill a Unison, you swing into something, you KO something else, and then they discard 1. That's a lot of value for just 2 energy. Then we have the other boss monster, Trunks. Yeah, so Auto, when this card attacks, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring Barrier, negate Indestructible, and KO it. So it's immediately just KO something, ignoring Barrier. You play him for 2 energy. If your leader is green and you have 3 or more, you play him from the hand, and during this turn, you reduce the cost of your next Z extra by 1 green. And then he has Activate Battle once per turn. If you have 4 or more energy and you switch 3 Earthlings into rest mode, he gains plus 5k in Triple Strike. This is a great finisher when combined with the Z extra card, which we'll show you later, that makes his swing uncounterable. But even if you just have 3 Earthling tokens, first off, it's Activate the Battle. If you feel super confident that your opponent doesn't have a negate in hand, you can just swing and then Activate Battle, gain plus 5 and triple. If you feel confident that your opponent has a negate and they're on 1 life, you just use the Z extra card and you swing 30 single. They can't counter, and then you just dump hand. Trunks is amazing. Then we have 2 copies of the one that's gonna go out of the deck. GoBros boss monster. Yeah, everything GoBros is just kinda ass right now. It's good at killing Unisons because when he attacks you remove 2 markers from a Unison. He's a 1 cost, and he says, Auto once per turn, when your green Saiyan card deals damage to your opponent, you choose 1. Choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it, or your opponent discards 1 from hand. I don't use this 99% of the time. Like I usually charge it or I just drop it. I found it not to be super useful, and yeah, you can argue that it has Unison marker removal, but I also found that often I want to swing at the Unison a couple of times to get some discard effects going, so this one is going out of the deck. He is cool though when you get to combine him with Reddits, because then your opponent loses 2 in hand if you deal damage. Then the 1 card that's limited to 1 as we're moving to the counter package, Frieza Charismatic Villain, of course, and the big one. Oh my god, this card is insane. 4 copies of Cooler Effortless Strike. So what does Cooler do? And this one is gonna have a slide. Counterplay, you play this card, and if the battle card being played has a cost of 4 or less, it's placed into the drop instead. Permanent, during your opponent's turn, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1 for each green extra card in your battle and drop area. So the field card, the Z extra card, and then something in the drop, and he costs 1. Auto, when this card is played, if your opponent has 8 or more in hand, they choose 1 and discard it. Let's see what Cooler can help us deal with. Here is why we're running 4 copies of Cooler in the main deck. Here's some neat things that we can hit. First off, we just demolish U7 even more. Like, this deck was made to kill U7 100% of the time. So you just take away their Vegeta, their duo that's limited to 1, but most importantly, you take away the burn card, because they will try to burn you. So just take away that card as well. The other ones you can deal with other things. The newest Vegeta promo, which wants to detonate the field, you just say no, and you send it to the drop as well, because it doesn't have deflect. Then let's say if you're playing against Android 21, you can just drop the Z battle card, which is always cool. And the most important thing, it helps us with our flat out worst matchup, which is future Gohan. If you establish Bardock on turn 2 and you get Cooler online on turn 3, future Gohan can't beat you anymore. It just can't. It doesn't matter that they draw so much. You use Bardock to take away their combat tricks, and then you just use Cooler every time they want to play a 4-cost. Every time they want to play the 4-cost SR, you just slap it with a Cooler. Yeah. Also, your opponent discards a card if they have 8 or more, and a lot of these decks will have 8 or more. Specifically, future Gohan will have 8 or more, because hand destruction doesn't really work against that deck, but at least we can deny their resources. That was the last of the slides, so now we're just going through the deck. 3 copies of King Cold. King Cold is amazing. He also costs 1 because he reduces his cost by 1 for each extra card in your battle area, so Z extra in field negates the attack, and when you play him, your opponent can't attack leaders unless they discard 1. Usually they're just trying to swing at your Unison, but at some point, if you don't have a Unison, you just slap King Cold, they can't attack you anymore. So these are counter battle cards. Then we have our super combo, 4 copies of Paragus. It's Paragus, you never run anything else. Then we go to our extra cards. 4 copies of Uneasing. Originally in NA, I've played 4 copies of Dormant Potential because they didn't have Uneasing. Now I have 4 copies. I'm still not sure. I think I would side Dormant as well for specific matchups, particularly for future Gohan. Because when I play against future Gohan, because they draw 5 cards a turn, it's just like, yeah, okay, I will just Z-charge. And I'll just benefit. Because the way that they Z-charge for Uneasing, it goes through Bardock's effect, because they're not comboing. So, maybe even switch them for Dormants, maybe pick Dormants in the sideboard. But the card is amazing. You can even play it for free, you draw so much you just don't care. Then 1 copy of Homicidal Clones, because just in case. And now we're moving to the other extra card, which might seem a bit like an overkill, but the decks draw so much that you just need to run 4 copies of Cells or Destroying Kamehameha. It's one of the best cards in green. It's one of the best cards in the game. Activate battle. If your leader is green, choose one of your leader or battle cards and it gains plus 15 for the battle. That's okay, doesn't matter that much. Auto, if all of your energy is green, when you play this card, you choose one of your opponent's cards in their hand and you discard it. Because you choose 1, it's choosing at random. I have sniped secret rares, I've sniped the negates, super combos. You can just flat out hit so much at random with this card. Plus it's just 1 energy. Will be swimming in energy by turn 4. Because everything is cheap in this deck. So you can just keep slamming the cells or destroying and taking their hand away. This card is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Then our Overrealm is Secret AD, because what else? Secret AD is amazing for clearing the board. Helps against some specific matchups. Let's say like Pan. There was a scenario where I just took 2 of the 3-cost Pans away from the board, so they don't destroy my other things. It helps against blockers. It's a very, very good card. And finally, the secret rare, Celzino. Because what else? Celzino is my absolutely favorite secret rare in the game, and it fits the deck perfectly. Because we play hand destruction, we don't swing into the leader as often, and we need to win somehow. Plus, we have a 4-cost for 1 energy in Reddits. We play 9 8-costs, and we have 4 costs in Cooler if the opponent doesn't discard them. We have a combination where if you're lacking 4, you can play King Cold on your turn because he has an energy reduction even on your turn. You swing, you play Mai, and then you just Successor into Celzino. Your opponent discards 3, which is absolutely insane. And most of the time, that's just all of their cards. And then you swing for 4 damage and you win the game. Now let's go through the Z deck. Okay, so we are running 1 copy of my Earthling support. Helps us out sometimes if we're stuck very early in the game with generating tokens. When we play her, we create 1 token. And auto limit 1. This auto is actually quite useful. I've used it a couple of times. If you have 4 or more Earthling tokens, when this card attacks, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with a cost of 3 or less, KO it, and then this card gets plus 11k. She becomes 15. It really helps sometimes. Sometimes you can actually remove some things that are troublesome on the board with this effect. We just run a single copy of it. 2 copies of Broly. Yeah, just 2 copies of Broly. Broly is amazing. We use Broly 99% of the time to kill a battle card. I'll explain why. 2 copies of Frieza. I keep forgetting that this one exists in my Z deck. It's a phenomenal card. Don't forget that it exists in the Z deck. Basically, the big thing is place one of your Z energy into a drop, and when one of your other green battle cards with a cost or more attacks, your opponent discards 1. He's also removal, he's 15k double. What you can do is you can swing with the leader, you can play Mai, and then you can immediately combo with it to send it to the Z energy, and then when you swing with something else, you have the Z energy to trigger Frieza's effect. Finally, we play 2 Z extras. First off, Gigantic Meteor of Destruction. So activate battle, you remove it from the game, you give something plus 10k, and if a battle card is KO'd, opponent discards 1. Doesn't matter that often. The second activate battle is the reason why we run Broly. If you have 4 more energy, and you have a Broly in battle, which is the Z battle card, Broly gets plus 30k, you remove this card from the game. He gets plus 30, he's 50k. And if he KOs a battle card, you get rid of one of your Z energies, and your opponent discards 2. Yeah. So, Broly becomes kill something, discard 2. That discard 2 is huge. And finally, we run the last Z extra, Final Hope / Humanity Secret Weapon. Basically, you just switch 3 of your Earthling tokens to rest mode, and during this turn, when Trunks, 8 cost, would attack your boss monster, your opponent can't activate counters. So, just guaranteed damage. It's not guaranteed damage, it's guaranteed swing. Last but not the least, let's talk a bit about the side deck. So side deck is more suggestions, things that I'm looking forward to trying, because both Scrub Games locals and our own locals are proxy legal. So, first off, 2 copies of the newest Goku SR. This would go instead of the GoBros boss monster. You play him for 4, Triple Strike Revenge. When you play him, choose all of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and KO them. And when he's removed by a skill, opponent discards 3. This usually shouldn't matter, because you just blow up their field, and that's it. You pay 4 to blow up the field. You usually play this on turn 5, and then you can pay 1 for Celzino. It's cool if you manage to discard everything from their hand, because you can pay 4, swing triple, deal 3 damage, pay 1 for Reddits, and then Successor into Celzino, take the 3 cards away. This one is, I think it's good. I'm not completely sold on it yet, but I'm looking at like maybe as one off or 2 off, just because the GoBros boss monster is kind of yeah. Also looking to try out this one, Purunga SCR. Permanent can't attack, activate main, you play it if your leader is green and you have 3 or more, you remove him from the game at the end of the turn, activate main, limit 3, so you can use these 3 times. You choose one, you either draw one and opponent discards one, you either switch one of their cards into the rest mode, which can be an energy, or you choose one of your battle cards and one of their, ignoring barrier, and you place all other battle cards at the bottom of their opponent's deck. So basically just kind of board wipe them. I'm looking forward to trying out the draw free, discard free effect. I am not sure would I stick with this card, because Celzino is often the finisher and this one can't attack. Anyways, we will see. I will be trying it out at one of the upcoming locals. Then Kaioken the Furious. So basically the idea is, you have seen the Bardock Reddits combo. Now I want to see if I can make Destruction more passive and just run Kaioken instead of Reddits, or just keep it in the side, because if you're playing against a deck which has a 20k Z leader, Kaioken is useless. But a lot of decks have like 15, you know. And you have Bardock, so they need to combo too. So they're still losing free from hand. And if you deal damage, you just crit them. And sometimes you will just have enough energy to become 25. Then we have Dormant Potential. I've talked about this one, running it instead of uneasing. And finally, the Gohan rare. This is to help against Baby Unison in a future Gohan matchup. Because for 1 energy, you just take away 3 markers. If you swing into a 5 marker Baby Unison with nothing under it, with Solidarity, and you combo with this, you just killed it immediately. If you swing with GoBros Boss Monster, which is one of its rare uses, it automatically removes 2 markers, then you just combo with this, pay 1, you get rid of the Baby Unison. So it's worth experimenting with. Anyways, that's the deck. That's it for the video. Let me know in the comments below. Will you give Trunks and Maya a go? Will you try out this deck? Have I convinced you that it's better than GoBros? Let me know in the comments. I love this deck. I'm gonna be playing it for a very, very long time. But anyways, let me know in the comments below. I read all of your comments and try to respond to everything. I love our little community. And guys, while you're here, hit those like and subscribe buttons, share the video. We're super close to 4k subs when I'm gonna give away a booster box. This has been Demian from the Lookout, and I'll see all of you in the next video.